You should be in the Dakar Rally down in South America, because that's what we're talking about right now. The annual motorcycle, ATV, car and transport truck race began back in 1979 as a race from Paris to Dakar, Senegal. And for the fifth year in a row, the race is being held in South America, starting in Peru on the 5th of January. Then it dipped into Argentina, and they're finishing off in Chile on the 20th of January after more than 8,000 clicks racing over massive sand dunes, talcum soft sand, and rocky plains. And the key to finishing is not to go fast, it's to keep what they call the snowball small. The snowball is when one mistake leads to others that conspire to end the race early. A mechanical breakdown or driving error takes time and energy to overcome, so the racer goes faster to compensate with less concentration, and that opens the risk of a lot more mistakes, damages, and delays. We've got a Canadian in that race. He's joining us on the phone line today to talk about what he has experienced in South America. As a matter of fact, he is currently in Chile, and we're talking about Don Hatton of Duncan, BC, the most experienced motorcycle racer in Canada. He's entered the Dakar 4 times previously, once in Senegal, but he said no, they got out of there because they were being threatened by Al-Qaeda, and if you understand the country of Senegal and you take a look at what's going on over there, then you'll understand exactly what he is talking about, because it's still going on, and a lot of threats in that country for anybody going into that desert area of Senegal. And but he has done this, and he's never made it past the 4th day of the 15-day event. He's joining us back on the phone line. So let's get him back up, and his wife Natalie is joining us as well. She happens to be in Duncan, and I'll bet you 10-1 she's hoping that he would be back, as a matter of fact, at their home in Duncan after some of the experiences he's gone through. So would it be safe to say, Natalie, that you'd like to have him back home right now?
That'd be safe to say.
Yeah, that would be safe.
That would be really safe to say.
All right. Let me ask you a question about the kind of equipment that you've got, Dawn, and the things that you needed to do to that bike to make it raceable over those varying kinds of terrain. Because, gosh, you're going from hard pack to jungle to sand. I mean, how does the bike stand up and all that stuff?
The bike is highly modified in that we've added more fuel capacity. So
yes.
The rules are you have to be able to go at least 270 kilometers on a tank of fuel, and that's definitely not enough distance, because in the sand you use fuel much faster. So our bikes are capable of going 345 kilometers on a tank of fuel.
What kind of tires have you got on it?
We're running Michelin Deserts, which are tires specifically designed for sand.
Right.
And we have some, a little harder tire for the pavement, in the pavement sections of the rally. But the big thing is that I come in at night and the mechanics work on the bike and try to get it ready for the next day, and then we try to put a new engine in on day 7. So we do the best we can to make the bike ready for the sand. And then in addition to all that, we have to install safety equipment and navigation equipment on the bike. So there's a electronic compass and a road book holder, which is our little map that we follow.
Yeah.
So we do not follow GPS. We only follow compass headings. And if you were to see a road book, it looks like stick drawings. So it's arrows, and it'll say something like at kilometer 120, turn left at the tree and be heading on compass heading 200 degrees.
Man alive.
That's how we know.
So would GPS even work down there?
Oh no, GPS definitely works down here. But if we were caught with any kind of GPS device, we'd be disqualified. You'd be
disqualified. Now I got you. So they make it as primitive as possible.
Yeah, that's correct.
Within reason.
And then what they do is, to make it even harder, there's no path through the dunes. And all the instructions are always in French, so it's called off-piste. So they'll send you an off-piste section, and it'll say go 400 kilometers through the dunes and be on this compass heading. Well, if you've ever been in sand dunes, it's near impossible to be on to maintain a heading, because you need to focus on something, and of course all the dunes look exactly the same.
How's your French?
Take your eyes off the spot.
How's your French?
My French is terrible. I wish I'd paid attention in school.
Yeah, I'll bet you did.
Because like a Deutsch and I can't even remember the terms, but I think a Deutsch means left.
Yes.
And I can't remember what the term for right is, but that's how they write it out. So you
that's
just
your problem,
learn their terms.
very, very basic.
It's already started. Natalie just said that's your problem, babe.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny. That is funny. Oh,
But
man.
modified.
Listen.
I'm going to ignore her.
Well, no, you won't. Listen, not in this show. Listen. Here's an email I just got from Jim. Jim says, "Hey Don, congrats on living your dream. I was in the 80-day car race around the world in the year 2000, so I can sympathize with the hardships that you encountered. Go for the 5th time." Signed, Jim.
Thanks,
Give me
Jim. I
Jim's
like you a
email.
lot.
I'll get you Jim's email. You can email him,
I'm gonna
Natalie.
blast him. Yeah.
Listen, let me
Send him a virus.
let me ask you right now, though, Natalie, what kind of a guy is this to live with on a day-to-day basis? Because, boy, he likes the adrenaline rush. He's in the insurance business. I love that. He's an insurance broker.
So he likes he's an adrenaline junkie. He likes the rush, and he must like the risk. He's a pretty competitive guy. I have trouble getting myself to the gym every day, and he wants to go out and do these kind of rallies. I just don't get it at all.
Well, listen, I can understand to a certain degree, Don, what you're up against, because when I was in my early 40s, that was about 300 years ago, and I went back to playing touch football because I wanted to go back, and bring my youth back. So that lasted a couple of seasons, and then I gave that up and said, no, I can't do this. I can still throw the ball, but I can't move fast enough. And then I went and started to play, at your age, at 54, I started to play senior hockey again, and I remembered how to turn left. I forgot how to turn right, so that lasted 2 seasons, and my wife says, get off the ice. You're going to get really injured, and you don't need to do this anymore. So now I ride a bike and I go I walk. So, somewhere down the line you say to yourself, when are you going to give it up? Has that hit you yet?
Well, I have to say, not normally, but only in the desert.
But you're not normal anyway.
Terry.
Yeah, maybe not.
Terry.
Yes.
He did. I'm butting in here, Dee. He did say to me when he called me from the desert, 12 kilometers out.
Yeah.
Natalie, I can't do this anymore. I'm too old. And unfortunately for him, the French TV station have that on film, and I'm hanging on to that.
It's true. I did say that, but
You did say that.
Oh, wait, he admitted it, so now you got it on CFAX.
But it was a mitigating situation. I hadn't had food or water for 14 hours, and honest to
You're
God,
delusional.
I had picked up my motorcycle. I had picked up my motorcycle 200 times.
Yeah.
And I want to just touch on a quick point if I can, Terry.
Sure, quick.
You mentioned that you want to try this, you want to avoid the snowball effect.
Yes.
That's exactly what happened to me, and it ultimately led to the truck running me over, and that I was lost for almost 2 hours in the desert prior to the truck hitting me, which meant that all the trucks caught me. So by the time I got myself back on the course, I was with all the trucks. It wasn't like 1 or 2 had caught me. They had all caught me. And so the dune I had to climb, they had already made an attempt at it. And the more tries they make, the softer the dune gets. So not only was I trying to climb a dune that was extremely soft, I was in the middle of the truck. So the snowball effect had gotten me in that particular case.
Now, Natalie, we know how to get them to stop. What you do is you get some kind of a paper, put all the information down, get them to sign it. But what you do is you withhold food and water from them for a couple of days, and then make them sign it.
Yeah, and you just throw a couple of snakes in the room too.
Oh man, this is getting nasty. I'll put you back on hold. Hang on, we'll be back in a moment as we.